A world without energy. All right, let's talk about this, my friends. I just got done taking one of my kids to school. Got to get in class early for a project. So, I think a lot about this, actually. What's going on in Texas is not only is there no electricity, but there's they're having a hard time getting any energy because of the natural gas lines freezing. The coal is actually easy. I mean, it's not that difficult when it's frozen. You can easily just take a front loader, dig that sucker up, and get it ready to go, and throw it in the boiler. That's not all that hard, but you need energy to do all this. The point being is that they weren't prepared for cold. They were not prepared for cold. That's just a fact. And can you blame them? I can't really blame them. Especially when everybody's been focused on preparing for warm. And as such, it's easy to overlook the elephant in the room, which is the cold that is not prepared, and just focus on the warmth, which is always better. Just look at the medieval warm period versus the little ice age to get a glimpse of what is better. Would you want the cold or would you want the warm? And you want the warm 100 times out of 100. All right, be this way. A world without energy is we're seeing right now. All right, what do you think's happened to Bitcoin? Could you trade your Bitcoin right now? No. Credit cards run on electricity, do they not? Yes. All right, so if you don't have electricity, you don't have Bitcoin, you don't have credit cards. You don't. All right. Now, on top of that, you also don't have the ability to get out cash, dollar bills from the bank machine. So you need to make sure that you have cash as well. You need to have a store of things you can trade with, i.e., cash, gold, silver, some kind of physical asset. And this is the issue that you've got to have something, man. Now, I don't think we're going to be a world without energy forever. I think actually what we're going to be doing is more electrifying the world, which sounds good in theory, but it's not. It's bad in practice, good in theory. Because a world that's only run on electricity means you can't live the lifestyle you're accustomed to. You can't fly, for instance. Just think about it. You're not going to be able to buy and transition out of products and services that you normally use, because just think about just a basic sawmill. You think a sawmill runs on electricity? I just think batteries, they run on electricity. How is these things mined? They're not mined on electricity. So all these things that you're accustomed to, that's why I posted a question on my YouTube channel, the community page, that you can live an hour without fossil fuels, yes or no? That's my question. Can you live an hour without fossil fuels, yes or no? The answer is you can't. Everything around you has fossil fuels. Everything, from plastic, the asphalt roads, the batteries in your Tesla, everything has fossil fuels, man. The wood that you're sitting on, your floorboards and all that stuff, the trusses, all that went through a sawmill. Is not done on electricity. To take down the tree wasn't done with an electric chainsaw. All this stuff. Everything you live on has fossil fuels. You cannot live an hour without fossil fuels, man. It's just not happening. As such, as you go more heavy in relying on electricity, inherently, that's going to mean less such for other sources of energy, in terms of just good old-fashioned petroleum, diesel, gas, coal, all that stuff, because they're going to electrify everything, as opposed to using energy to live on. So again, not just not flying, not just not taking your speedboat, but also basically going to sawmill. All this stuff is going to take energy, and I actually think this is part of the grand design, because Bill Gates and his ilk will always have access to free-flowing energy, because they have it's a fiefdom, man. It's a you versus them, or us versus them, I should say, where we are subject to electrifying our lives, which will not produce the abundance we're accustomed. It just won't. But Bill Gates and the rich elite will be able to live off fossil fuels and energy, because will be priced out of the market, but they can afford it and we can't. And so I'm sitting there thinking, okay, the reliance on electricity is a suspect in of itself, just because distribution, all that. But never mind production. And people can argue all day. It wasn't the windmills freezing. Oh, the windmills freezing. What happens to how much energy is being used to make those windmills operate to provide you any sort of electricity. The whole thing's just nuts, man. It wasn't the windmills freezing; it was actually everything else freezing. Okay, I'm willing to grant you that. The point being is this was never supposed to happen. All right, we weren't supposed to have massive cold. Some guy actually said global warming on my YouTube channel. Global warming causes colder winters and hotter summers. And I'm just like, it's like these guys can't get their freaking ducks in a row in terms of what their arguments are. That's simply, dude, yeah, these guys are fools, man. It's just simple, not true. They used to say global warming would have longer growing seasons because the winters would be reduced. Now they're saying it's be colder winters? Okay. They're used to saying snow would be a thing of the past. Now they're saying colder winters? Okay. It's just the whole thing's freaking insane, man. And on top of that, we don't have hotter summers, by the way. Just FYI, we don't. Just look at the 1930s, my friends. You think we have hot summers now? Look back then. It's just not. It's just fanciful. Either lying, which some of these guys are, the Bill McKibbins of the world. I mean, they have got to know that they're lying. But it pays well to do so, or ignorance. And I have to assume a lot of people on my own YouTube channel who are, they believe in fairy tales and unicorns are ignorant, frankly. That's the only thing I can think. But be as it may, when we have no energy and even we have no electricity, how do you basically transport? How do you buy goods and services? What do you use? And this is where gold and silver and actual cash comes into being, because there has to be some way to transact business. And the way to do that is through not just a barter, but an exchange of currency, exchange of value in a monetary environment, i.e. money. And money is not just greenbacks. Money could be Bitcoin, money could be gold, money could be firewood, money could be water. But isn't it interesting when this happens, when you don't have energy or electricity, in particular electricity, what do you think the value of Bitcoin does without electricity? See, that's the thing, man. And the big picture is that the global elites are going to make it so we're going to pay through the nose for electricity. That's just a fact. Which means, frankly, that the Bitcoin stuff has a place in society. Because if it's based on electricity, which apparently it is, there will be electricity. By hook or by crook, there will be electricity. It's just going to be expensive to reduce your reliance on it, and it'll be even more and more expensive to get other forms of energy, fossil fuels in particularly, to heat your homes, to build your houses, just to travel and things like that. I mean, look, you see it's my way. And that's by design. And so what happens then, again, this is why you need to have some gold, man. I'm just telling you, you need to have some silver. You need to keep some dollars on the side. You can't rely on cryptocurrency. You can't rely on credit cards. You can't rely on electronic transactions. You can't. I'm just telling you, you can't. I mean, right now, I live in Georgia, so everything is fine because right now it's 40 degrees outside. It feels good, actually. It feels like a breast, what's the word I'm looking for? Not balmy. Balmy means warm, right? I don't know, a winter day. A regular winter day here in the South. But it's going to be, I think, 53 today or something like that. So here is nice. And so electricity, if we have it, we could rely on Bitcoin. We could rely on credit card transactions. We could rely on ATMs. But when those things go south, what do you do, man? You can't rely on that stuff. Anyway, so as such, you have to have another source. And you have to have some gold. You have to have some dollar bills. You have to have some firewood. As I talked to a client the other day, she lived in Texas, North Texas. No, actually, she lived over in College Station. She had a couple, handfuls of firewood or armfuls of firewood. That's it. And she's still without power today. And I talked to her on Monday, man. And none of her neighbors did. Anyway, so be prepared. A world without energy won't necessarily be a world without electricity, but things are the global elites running things, and they're going to make it happen. I'm telling you right now. So you better be prepared. All right, we'll see you.